With threats to our nation waiting around every corner, adaptability is more important than ever. When conditions change without notice, quick strategic thinking is crucial. And with obstacles consistently impending, determination is essential in overcoming them. It's this willingness, decisiveness, and resilience that sets Marines apart. With our fighting spirit, we don't just fight battles, we win them. Marines are the constant our nation counts on to fight the unknown. And through adaptable problem solving, we do just that. Learn more at marines.com.
Fargo, the new virtual assistant from Wells Fargo, makes banking faster and easier. Like this.
Fargo, what's my checking account routing number?
And this.
Fargo, turn off my debit card.
And this.
Fargo, what did I spend on groceries last month?
And that's just the beginning. Do you, Fargo? You can. In the Wells Fargo mobile app. Learn more at wellsfargo.com/getfargo.
Terms and conditions apply. Your mobile carrier's availability and message and data rates may apply. Wells Fargo Bank, N.A., member FDIC.
Welcome to the Dragon's Lair. Hello and welcome to the Dragon's Lair podcast, your home all things Dragons RFC and rugby in the region. I'm Jamie, and joining me as always is Gavin Thomas. How are we doing, Gav?
I'm all right. Where I live, as we haven't had any water since Thursday, it's been on the national news, which hasn't been ideal. The water came back this morning, just in time for me to wash away a large bit of flesh that had come off my foot after a rugby injury yesterday.
Ah, yes. Do you just want to tell us about how that happened?
Well, silly buggers mainly, Jamie. I was playing second row, and we changed props, and the prop the opposition prop just got too much on, big shove. The other second row's legs have gone underneath, and he's just taken my foot out. It's not too bad now, the swelling's gone down, but it's taken a big lump out of my foot.
Oh dear, that sounds quite nasty actually. How painful was it, Gav? On a scale of 1 to 10, how painful was that?
Well, I very rarely go off the field, but I had to go off because I couldn't put any weight on it. And fortunately, because it was a kind of vets charity game type thing, one of my mates was on the sideline and he brought me a beer. And I sorted, and after 2 of those on the sideline, I managed to put some weight on it and half a bottle of port, yeah.
See who needs magic sponges and all that. You just have a beer. They'll sort it out.
I must admit, taking the dog for a walk with my family this morning was a bit of a struggle.
Oh dear. Okay, so you can find us on platforms such as Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and of course the Sports Social Network. And if you like what we do, please subscribe, share with your Dragons mates, and leave us a good review, as it all helps to grow the pod. Right, let's get into it then. Last week, Gav, was quite the week news-wise for the Dragons, wasn't it?
It really
was a big week of news. It was very, very busy, and there's so much to talk about. So let's start with the biggest news then. Friend of the pod, because we can call him that, because he's been on the pod and Absolutely. He does support us. Friend of the pod, David Buttress, is stepping down as Dragons chairman after 7 years in the role. So Buttress, he's not going to go far. He will remain on the Dragons board as a non-executive director and a major part of the ownership team. Following David's appointment as CEO of OVO Energy, David has decided that now is the right time for the club to go forward under new chairmanship. And Dragons then announced that board member and co-owner David Wright will be the club's new chairman from 1st of July 2024. So what did David Buttress say then? Well, he said it's been a great privilege to be chairman over the last 7 seasons, but taking into consideration my other new commitments, this is the right time for us to make this decision. I would stress to our supporters, players and staff that my commitment and passion for rugby in Gwent and Dragons remains as steadfast as ever, and I will continue to be a passionate owner. My congratulations to David Wright. I can think of no better person as he leads us as our new chairman and takes the club into the next exciting chapter of Welsh rugby. So Gav, when it was announced that David Buttress was stepping down as chairman, did it surprise you at all, or did he feel inevitable once he took that role with OVO Energy? How did you?
I think, he's taken a high-profile job with a high-profile company, and and he's hands-on. He's a hands-on bloke, and I just don't see how he could have been remain the CEO at Dragons, because when he was doing the consultancy stuff that he'd previously been doing, yeah, that makes sense. But this is different. You know, this is a high-profile company, cost of living crisis, so energy companies are getting a bit of a battering in the public eye. So I think it's important that he gives all the time to that job. So, you know, and it'll be well paid, I imagine. So it makes sense. It's sad because, you know, without sounding like too much of a home guy team, he's been a good CEO for the club, but he's been very good with the pod as well, you know. So it's a shame to see
Yes.
him stand down. You know, he likes all our social media stuff. He amplifies us and has been on the pod. So I think we've, you know, it's a shame to see him go. But I'm sure we'll have a similar relationship with the new board as well.
Yeah, fingers crossed. This last week as well, David Buttress also revealed that the Dragons were on the brink of being shut down last summer. So this is what he said: "I will never forget a Tuesday last July at 6 p.m. when I finished a call with the WRU where they had rejected our deal. I was preparing to go on the Thursday to West Drummond to tell the players and the guys of Rodney Parade that we had failed to buy the club and it was going to be no more. It was that close and I didn't sleep that night at all. I wrote an email to the WRU around 3 a.m. in the morning, although I sent it at 7 a.m. with a load of ideas about how we could restructure a deal to get resurrected to save the club. Luckily, that did the trick, and we jumped on a call that Wednesday to pull that deal back to life, and the rest is history." Gav, it's fair to say that everyone associated with the Dragons owes David Buttress a huge debt of gratitude, doesn't it? Because he has saved professional rugby in Gwent. Without David Buttress, we would no longer exist.
Yeah, and you can't really put any kind of buts ifs or whatever's about that. That's the case. He fronted up. He did what needed to be done, and the club still exists as a result. And it takes a lot of passion and drive because, let's be honest, I don't think he's made any money out of it, has he? You know, he's put his
No,
own
I don't
money.
think so.
He put his own
Yeah.
money into it because of his love for the club, not because of any other reason. You know, he's a Gwent bloke, grew up in Newport Never Vale. He's absolutely Dragons through and through. So yeah, we've got a big thank you for David Buttress. And I know there's some people who suggest we're very much, you know, kind of on his side, and you know, but so we bloody should be because we've got a club because of him. Yeah, no.
Exactly. And I would also argue as well, he saved professional sport in Newport, because if the Dragons went under, that would have had big repercussions for Newport County, of course.
Yeah, County couldn't
You know,
have
because
afford to buy Rodney Parade, and you
no,
know, where would they have gone?
you know, Rodney Parade would have probably been sold off and demolished, and County
Yeah.
would have been homeless. So they can't go back over Spitty because that is not fit for any pro
Oh,
sport.
wow.
It's fine for Newport IFC and the Newport City Football Club, but it's just not suitable for professional teams. So yeah, I think Dragons and Newport County have got a lot to be thankful for, that David Buttress managed to save and resurrect this deal, haven't they?
Mm-hmm. And look, he's a businessman. You know, the restructuring would have been based on sound business ideas, not anything else.
Yeah. And also, just to say as well, we have reached out to David Wright. We've emailed him with thanks to David Buttress. He put us through to him. We are waiting back on an answer. So we would like to get David Wright on this pod, the new chairman, just to have a chat about him. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, fingers crossed he will be able to join us at some point. And then the Dragons also announced their interim CEO, Graham Bradbury. He'll be stepping down at the end of the season. So David Buttress said Graham was integral in bringing the current ownership group together and diligently worked alongside myself to ensure that we could achieve the goal of taking Dragons RFC back into private hands from WRU ownership. So thank you to Graham for all his hard work. Yeah, I know Graham personally. I know he worked really hard on getting that deal done. So yeah, fair play to him and all the best for Graham's next endeavours, whatever he does next. I know you'll be on the terraces anyway, Graham. I know that, so I'll probably see him around the Rodney Parade. But yeah, big changes at the top. So that was the biggest news of the week then. Dragons also announced some new signings. And first up is Chris Hollis. So Chris Hollis has joined the Dragons on trial until the end of the season. Hollis played youth rugby for the Bulls before featuring for the Kings, Breakers and Lions before heading to the Stormers. He didn't have a lot of game time at the Stormers. I think he only played like an exhibition game for them. He just hasn't managed to break into their team. I mean, they have got a lot of depth from the Stormers, but yeah, the 25-year-old who can play centre and wing has headed to Rodney Parade on a short-term contract after a spell with the Stormers, and he could even face his old club this Friday night. Now, Gav, we don't know much about Chris Hollis. I've never seen him play, but a big ball-carrying South African sounds pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, I asked my Stormers supporting mate who I played with yesterday if he'd heard of him, and he's had no idea who he is. So clearly,
Yeah.
he's not a big name, but of the clips I've seen from playing for Cheetahs and Griggers and that, he looks like what we need. He's just a big, hard-running centre. And we've talked about the need for that. We've talked about the need for somebody who's just going to front up in attack and defence in the backs. And was he 6'3"?
Yeah.
And he can shift as well. The videos I've seen, he's got a bit of gas to him. So yeah, I'm happy with that. And you've talked about it being a money ball signing, and I think that's exactly what it is, isn't it? It's low risk, but if it pays off, we're going to have actually brought someone in who's going to make a difference to the club at very little cost, I imagine. I don't think this is a big name signing or big money signing, but it's probably for Chris Hollis. It's a chance for him doing a bit of decent money and play a bit of regular rugby, and for us, it's bringing us what we need. So I'm pleased with that.
Yeah, and it is very low risk because it's to the end of the season. He's on trial, same as Steffi was. If it works out, great. Then the Dragons will extend his contract, and we've got another big, powerful option on the wing. It does sound like he is going to be playing on the wing. Reading Dave Flanagan's comments, he says, we see him as a wing, and if it goes to plan, then he could be a physical option at 11 next year, along with Jared, Rosser, and Harry Rees-Weldon. So they're looking at him as a winger, but then he can step into the centre, a bit like Theo Tompkinson, I guess.
Yeah.
Because we expect Theo to be leader, so maybe Chris Hollis is going to be the replacement for Theo Tompkinson. But, it is low risk. If it doesn't work out, that's fine. He goes at the end of the season. He's got 3 games to impress. And if it does, then great. It's another option, isn't there? We've talked about someone having big, powerful, strong running backs, haven't we? So, yeah, I'm really interested to see how he goes. He should start against the Stormers on Friday. I'd be quite keen to see. It's a good start for him, isn't it? Against his old club straight away, so he's going to want to impress, isn't he?
Of course.
Yeah, so we look forward to seeing him in action. Then signing number 2, I like this one. Dragons, well, I like all of them, to be fair, but I quite like this because Dragons have signed tough and uncompromising Tonga back rower Solomon Funaki to add to the ball carrying options next season. The 30-year-old who specialises in number 8 but can play across the back row will arrive this summer for Monaco Pacifica, where Stephen Jones is now backs coach, of course, in Super Rugby. Now, I got to be honest, Gav, I haven't watched a lot of Super Rugby this year, but this is a guy who's going to get us over the game line, isn't it? This is exactly the kind of guy that we need.
I've seen him play a couple of times. I've watched a bit of, I watch Super Rugby most weekends, and he's a handful. He's an absolute handful. There's not a lot of technique to him. There's not a lot of grace. He's just big and he runs hard. And I've seen people saying, I don't really understand why we're getting him. We've got lots of back rowers. Well, he's an upgrade on most of what we've got. Is my take of what I've seen of him. He hits rucks hard. He carries hard, and his tackling is a bit Southern Hemisphere. So he is a card risk. I'm not going to pretend he isn't, but he brings an edge, and we lack an edge, if I'm honest.
Absolutely.
And for me, I would play him at 8, and I'd play Wayno at 6. And then you've got physicality, right? And you could play Tane at 7, and then you've just got a back row there, which with balance, but all of them can do the grunt work. And it's no criticism of Sean Lonsdale or whoever, or Ollie or anyone else. But you've got 3 players there who are going to get us over the game now, and we've looked physically underwhelming, haven't we?
We have indeed, yeah. People say we don't need another back row, but I think what people forget is we lose Aaron Wainwright, we lose Tate Basham to Wales. I don't see Dan Lydiate being around next season. This could very well be his last season.
He's not really pulled up any trees, has he, this season for us?
No, he's been okay. He's been okay,
fine.
but I think age has finally caught up with him. He is a Dragons legend. He's a hell of a player.
Oh, yeah.
But age catches up with all of us, does there? So I think we're not seeing the best of Dan Lydiate. I think Ospreys had the best of Dan Lydiate, really.
They did.
We had him good in our first spell, but he played his best rugby while he was at the Ospreys. But it's a good signing. And this is exactly what we need. We need power, we need grunt, and this guy provides it. So
and he's been playing for Moana Pacifica.
Yes.
And like you say, you've not seen them play a bit. They are quite blunt instrument. Their forwards run hard, and then the backs run hard. But he's instrumental in that style of play. But I think what we're seeing now is a change. Will be a change in the style of play, I would hope, because at the minute we've worked out we can't run through people, so we're trying to run round people. But the problem with that is you can't do that. It's not under 10s rugby. You can't give it to the quick lad who's going to run in. And this will just give us a bit of penetration, so we can then build phases beyond the gain line, which we haven't been doing.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think that's a very good signing. So that was signing number 2. Signing number 3. Now, this is probably, I would say, the biggest name signing. This was the one that was most surprising. So signing number 3 is Australian centre Harry Wilson. The 23-year-old who can play in the back 3 will arrive after completing the Super Rugby campaign with the Waratahs. Wilson, whose father was former Australian captain and World Cup winner David, he will be providing a physical option at 13 along with up-and-coming Joe Westwood. This is one of those utility guys who can play in the back 3, play in the centre, but he is being seen as a centre. There was a lot of surprise when this signing was announced. There was a lot of surprise down under with Australian commentators and pundits surprised the Waratahs let him go overseas. He's highly rated down there. So what did you think of this signing, Gav?
Yeah, another player I've seen a bit of this season watching Super Rugby, and a good player. And he's not just a lump. He is a lump, but he's not just a lump. He's got lovely hands, really kind of accurate passer, real vision, but also quite difficult when he's moving quickly to stop. And I've read online lots of Australian pundits really surprised because he's been talked about as potential squad member for Australia.
Indeed, yeah. So this is a pretty big coup for the Dragons, isn't it?
Yeah, it'd be, it's shown a bit of ambition. But again, it's kind of low risk, isn't it? Because I've no doubt he's coming at the price tag, but not as much as if you tried getting a Welsh international centre.
Yeah,
absolutely. If you tried to sign Owen Watkin, I know we wouldn't, but I'm just using him as an example. Owen Watkin probably comes at twice the cost of Harry Wilson.
And the difference is he's going to be available all season. Whereas when you sign Welsh internationals, you're going to lose him for big chunks of the season.
He's probably, before I've seen him, a better player.
But it's an interesting signing, isn't it? I think Dragons have pulled off a bit of a coup there because, this isn't a big name player, but like you said, he's been talked about being part of the Australian squad, and he was highly rated with a lot of fans and pundits. So I think Drags have done very good work there. So and the fact he's able to play in many different positions, versatility is important, as we know in rugby now. So very happy with that one. And then signing number 4 is another Australian and a familiar face, especially if you're a Scarlet supporter. So Steve Cummins, remember him, Gav?
I do, yes.
Yes, the 32-year-old who, of course, worked with Dave Flanagan at the Scarlets, 6'7", 6'7" lot.
119 kilos, yeah.
Yeah, will arrive from Poe in the top 14, and he's had 2 spells in Super Rugby with the Melbourne Rebels. He impressed with the Scarlets when he made 46 appearances for them over 3 campaigns, helping them to the final of the Pro 14 in 2018, which of course they won, wasn't it? I think that was that final against Munster.
Yeah.
So, head coach Dave Flanagan said Cummins will add experience to our pack and depth to our second row resources. He's a big man, a presence in any team, and has massive leadership skills that will benefit the squad. So, Gav, with the signings now we're talking about, have you noticed there's a pattern developing here?
Bulk.
Yeah. There is a clear emphasis on bulk and power. The club have recognised that, and there will be more signings to come. And you'll notice again, we're not signing small guys. We're signing big, powerful men.
Harry Wilson's probably the smallest of them, at 6'2" and 103 kg, I think.
Yeah. But what do you make of that one, Steve Cummins? 32, he's no spring chicken, but he's got a good couple of years. He adds that leadership and experience, which how many times have you talked about leadership on the pod over the season, But
he's also, and I hate this phrase, but we've needed someone with a bit of dog in the second row.
Yes.
And he's he's not a particularly cultured player, because he was kind of cover for Ty Burn in that Scarlets team, wasn't he? And where Ty Burn was an all-rounder, Steve Cummins was just hit rucks, carry, hit rucks. But that's not necessarily.
Sounds good.
That's exactly. But that's what we've been lacking, isn't it? And there's no criticism of George Knott or, Ben Carter's developing, but Ben Carter's going to develop alongside that, isn't it? Ben Carter's going to develop alongside a player who's just going to do his job 100% of the time at a quality level. So, for me, it's a developmental select. And let's be honest, he's an upgrade on Matthew Screech. No criticism of Matthew Screech and George Knott, but he's an upgrade. And all those players, with the exception of Hollis, who we don't know about yet, is an upgrade on what we've got in those positions.
No, I agree. And I think it's a savvy sign. And I don't think he's had much game time for Poe.
No.
But that's a good thing, because he'll come to us fresh. He's not coming to us battered, bruised, and tired. He'll come to us fresh. And, it's the same with Chris Hollis. These guys want game time.
Yeah.
And we can provide that for them. So, it's all very encouraging. So, to recap then, the Dragons so far, new signings, they've signed Chris Hollis, Solomon Funaki, Harry Wilson, and Steve Cummins. So, are you happy with the recruitment so far, Gav?
Oh, 100%. It's, think of all the times we've talked about this. It's exactly what we need, isn't it? We've talked about backs who can break the game line. We've talked about forwards with a bit of bulk and a bit of strength. And that's what we've done. We've bought those players. We've bought big guys. We've bought guys with a bit of leadership quality. All the things we've been saying all season. Well, of course, I'm super happy. I'd like to see another option at 10.
Yes.
I'd like to see another option in the front row. Not a hooker, but a prop.
Yeah.
To be honest, we could do with 2 new props. But other than that, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. I mean, I do have a feeling that Dimitri Ahit might be extending his deal. That could be one option. But you are right. I think a couple of front rowers now are needed, isn't it?
We could do with another loose as well. If Dimitri stays for a season, that's fine. That's coverage at tight. But we could do with coverage and loose, because we have not competed at prop at scrum time. And it's not solely the work of the props, but our props are getting schooled. It's all right if Barrel's in there.
Yeah, we've missed him, haven't we, since his injury?
Martinez has been fine.
He's been all right.
Yeah,
he's been all right.
He's been fine. But then, you are in the long grass a bit then, aren't you, without those guys?
Yeah, you're right. Hopefully, a couple of scrummaging props are on the way, but they don't come cheap either, Gav, do they? So it's a case of who's out there, who can we get with our budget?
There's not many of them out there either, is it? That's the problem. No. They are there, but most of them are in the French second division where they could earn more money, or they're in Georgia.
Yeah, no, you're right. It's going to be interesting seeing how many more signings have been announced, because Dave Flanagan said he wanted 7. That's the target. And so far, we've announced 4. We may have another back rower from Cardiff. Keep your eyes peeled on that. I won't mention any names, but that's another signing. And then hopefully a 10 and a scrummaging prop. But yeah, so far so good, Gav. We're happy with the recruitment, aren't we?
Gosh,
I mean,
yeah.
it remains to be seen who's leaving the club, because when new people come in, you instantly figure, well, who's leaving? And I think we got a fair idea now who's leaving. We know Max Clark is going to leave, Co Tompkinson's going to leave, Aki Salu is going to leave, but we know Bertrand who is leaving. So
yeah. Sean Lonsdale probably, I've heard.
I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so too. Yeah. But they haven't released any names as to who's leaving the club, but we've got a fair idea.
They're the names that. Now, Leon's not re-signed yet, has he? Or is he?
No, he hasn't. So it remains to be seen what's happening with Leon Brown. I think it'll go 2 ways. I think you'll either stay with us, but on a reduced contract or reduced terms, or they'll just say thank you and we'll have to depart company, because he barely plays for us, Gav. It's a difficult one with Leon.
He's a luxury.
Yeah.
And we don't need luxury. We need guys in the trenches regularly.
It's a shame, because I'm a big fan of Leon. I think he had so much potential, but he's just injured all the time. And same with Ollie as well. We can't really afford to be carrying these guys anymore. I know they're Gwent boys
as well.
But...
and I like Harry Keddy a lot, but he's never really kicked on, and there's been injuries who've gone away for him, hasn't it? They aren't bad players by any stretch of the imagination.
Oh, no.
Players, but they're no good if they're not in the team because of injuries.
Yeah, it's not their quality that's the question mark. It's their durability. No. That's the issue. It's the durability.
Yeah, but, free quality players, but all of whom have been blighted by injuries.
Well, we'll wait and see who's on the list of players leaving. But I think most fans can take a guess at who's leaving. Right then, in other news, there's still more news to go. Dragons revealed their new CEO. So we talked about Graham Bradley leaving, and they've announced that Rhys Blumberg as the club's new chief executive officer from Cardiff, of course. So Rhys moves to Rodney Parade to take up the post ahead of next season, following a 4-year spell as chief operating officer at Cardiff Rugby. Rhys has worked as general manager, commercial manager, and head of sales and marketing during his time with Cardiff Rugby. So Rhys Blumberg said, I'm absolutely thrilled to be joining the Dragons as CEO, having engaged with all 3 owners extensively. I am extremely excited about their energy, enthusiasm, and commitment to make the Dragons as good as they possibly can be. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Cardiff for the past 4 years and look ahead to a thrilling future with the Dragons, where I hope to make a real impact across all departments of the organisation. Now, the first thing to say about this is that we have reached out to Rhys, and I'm pleased to say that he will be joining us on the pod once he's officially starting his new role, which is great, because I love to hear more about him and what his plans are for the club. So that'll be good, Gav, to have a chat to him, wouldn't it? This seems like a really good pickup, because Rhys Blumberg is highly regarded right across Welsh rugby following his impressive work down at Cardiff. This is another positive off-field appointment by the Dragons, isn't it?
Yeah, 100%. And that's what we need to be doing, isn't it? We need to be making these, steps forward. And I think Dragons, fair play to them as an organisation this week, because everybody's been a bit down in the doldrums. So, we've all looking at the table thinking, Christ, this has been a bit of a slog. And they've done really sensibly. They've gone out, they've signed 4 players, and they've done that well, and the social media stuff has been really good as well. Just kind of, with the videos they've used. And then they've also made a good, kind of the ownership. They've sorted Darryl Quick, they've sorted CEO. It just shows a bit of positivity. There's light at the end of the tunnel. Please, follow us.
Yeah, because it does feel like there's a plan in place now. There's an actual strategy, and that hasn't happened at the Dragons. It's no secret it has been a poorly run club for many, many years. way before David Buttress got involved. But it does feel like there's good people in charge. Like it feels like we're in the right hands, and there is a plan and strategy going forward. And look, I know we've had so many false dawns as Dragon supporters. We have been here before, but it just feels positive at the moment, doesn't it? It feels like we're making all the right moves.
I want to see coaches now. That's the next thing. I want a defence coach named. I want to see what the coaching setup is for next year.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. And that will be announced in due course. We know we're having a new defence coach. There is going to be an overhaul of the coaching team. We expect Luke Narraway and Bethan Davis to be leaving the club. So, and I think it's about time. I appreciate the work they've done at the Dragons, but we have to remember this was Dean Ryan's coaching team. So they've been there a fair while now, and Di needs to have his own men and needs to have an imprint on what's happening.
And Meffin particularly, like he's their Vale boy. I want him. I want him to do well, but it's not done what we've needed to do, is it? And we've talked about the players looking undercoached.
Yeah.
And someone has to take responsibility for that.
No, I agree. It'd be very interesting to see what a new coaching team is going to look like. So, that capped off a very impressive week of news. Fair play to the club. Like you said, the announcement videos as well for the new signings are great. And I know Bristol Bears started this trend, didn't they, of taking film clips and then, jazz them up and then just, how they've done it is really good. A lot of clubs do it now, but we are getting better at it, I think. I think they're really good at it.
Yeah, and we'll always be better than Ospreys at social media, who are the worst club at social media.
Oh, they've picked up now, in fairness. They never used to be very good. But I think we've all started to do these videos now. But it's good fun. People like it. It gets people talking, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that's probably, that's important, isn't it?
Yeah. I did enjoy seeing fans of other regions, when we was announcing our sign-in, say, well, where's our signings? They tag in, Ospreys, or they tag in Scarlets. Oh, look at Dragons announcing signing. Where's our signings? Well, sort your own shit out, lads, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Don't worry about us. Worry about your own team.
I think Scarlets will be, I'm surprised I haven't had a Llanelli phone number turning up recently. Do you fancy playing for us? Because they seem to be struggling. And Scarlets, Dwayne Peel, if you're listening, I would be open to it. I'm only available once a month, though. So, I'm available, boys, if you need me.
Right, in the last bit of news, this is the final bit of news. Dragons have exploited a loophole to ensure Ben Carter was banned for 1 game instead of 3 games after his red card against Connacht. So Carter was given a 3-match suspension due to his good disciplinary record and apology. And a further game is being taken off when he completes this World Rugby coaching intervention program, it's called, or some bollocks
Tackle
like that.
school.
Yeah, pretty much. But the URC included the Welsh Premiership semi-final between Newport and Ebervale in his suspension, despite the fact that Ben Carter hasn't played for the Black and Amber since January 2020. So Carter will return for the Ospreys match in Swansea on the 18th of May. I'll just point out as well, Dragons are not the only team to do this.
Oh, no.
Cardiff did it recently with Ray Lilo. They included a Cardiff RFC game against Newport in the suspension. And Scarlets have done it with a couple of their players. I know they included a friendly for Johnny Williams and is it Lozano, the Argentinian back row, where they included a Llanelli game. So we're not the only club to do it. It is a little bit naughty, but we're not going to have Ben Carter until the Ospreys game. Because we haven't really chatted about the Connacht game, but what did you make of that red card? Because I spoke about this on Rap, and I could see why it was a red card, letter to the law, short to the head, I get it. But my argument was, he's running at him so quick that Ben Carter just didn't have time to adjust his tackle line. Because when you watch it in real time, it's really difficult for a big man to adjust his tackle. I felt it's a little bit unlucky.
I can't remember. It was an England player who got sent off against Argentina. I can't remember who it was. And it was exactly the same position, exactly the same thing. All happened. And at the time I said that was a red, and I still feel it was a red because, it was all too low. But he is responsible for managing his body position. And it was too high and hit him in the head. It's letter of the law stuff.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? When you watch it in slow-mo, it looks really bad, slow it down and freeze frame. But when you watch it at real time, Jennings is coming at him at full speed,
Yeah,
and Alex Cuthbert said, well, what else is Ben Carter meant to do there then? I know you can say, well, tackle lower, but when it's happened so quickly, so I do feel a little bit for Carter. I'm not saying it
and
wasn't a red card,
his
but I
his
understand,
body
you
position
know?
was wrong enough for me. Yeah, and I'm a terrible tackler, so I'm not saying this from a position of strength, but the problem was he was up. He wasn't just like in a high position. He was absolutely upright.
Mm,
And
yeah,
and it's easy for me to say this because I never bloody do it, but he could have taken a few steps backwards, resorted himself, and nailed him. But instead, all he's done is, it was only going to end up like that. So I'm a huge amount of sympathy. He's an international second row. He needs to be sorting out his body height. Yeah, it's in those situations.
yeah. I guess it's just difficult, isn't it? When
And
it comes at
Jennings was
full
dipping a
speed.
bit, so there's a bit of mitigation, I suppose. But
Yeah,
it was always the minute the ref has gone, to the box, and it was done for me. And I know, you said that the ref had a poor game, that Connacht was offside a lot. I watched her at home. I wasn't picking that up as much. I did think he didn't police breakdowns or mauls particularly well, but
no,
that was for both sides. There's one Connacht maul that went on for about 25 minutes, it felt like. And
yeah.
they kept reshifting their body position, but every time a Dragons player tried moving, it was like, no, no.
Yeah.
But other than that,
Watching in the stands, though, you could see they were offside. There was more so in the second half, I'd say. In the last two, you could just see it. They were living offside. But yeah, it is what it is now. We got a losing bonus point out of it.
yeah,
But it felt like another missed opportunity. And
it
that
did.
red card changed the game because we had Connacht on the ropes at that
Oh, we
point. I
did.
think it was
Yeah,
24, wasn't it? They were
yeah.
starting to get rattled. And we was on top. But then that red card, it changed everything. And that's the most disappointing thing as well, you know? But yes, anyway, that's that done. So then it's time for our Gwent Rugby Roundup. And there was a Gwent derby on
It
Saturday, but it
was.
wasn't such a good afternoon for Ebervale, was it, Gav?
It was not. No, they played Newport at Newport in the Premiership semi-final, and Newport came away 48-13 winners, which takes them into the Premiership final versus Llandovery. And clearly, I want Ebervale to win. They're my team, but Newport and Llandovery have been the best two teams in
Yeah,
the Premiership all season, and it's
yeah,
fitting that they play each other in the
yeah. This is
final.
the right final, isn't it? But they've both
Yeah,
been the best teams, the Premiership by country mile,
oh,
I think.
100%, yeah. And Newport beat Llandovery last time they played. I think it's one win each so it's shaping up to be a good final, and they're going to be amongst the strongest teams in the EDC as well. Be interesting to see how Cardiff and some of the other teams strengthen
Yeah,
in that. But I really
yeah.
do think Newport are a strong, well-coached side, play good rugby, really aggressive attacking rugby. Llandovery good in the set piece. It's going to be a great final.
Yeah, just to add, Joe Westwood, Dragon Centre, was named man of the match, scored a hat trick. And look, I saw a few Ebervale fans who were moaning about the fact that Newport used a lot of Dragons players. But actually, they've been using Dragons players all season. Joe Westwood, Shea Hope have been regulars in that team.
I think
So it's
there
you know,
were 8 contracted Dragons players playing in the game, 5 for
yeah,
Dragons, 3 for Ebervale.
yeah. But
So
it's a flimsy excuse when these boys have been playing all season. They didn't just suddenly bring them
no,
straight into this game. They have been regulars in this side.
it wasn't
So
like Aaron
yeah.
Wainwright was suddenly in black and amber, was it? Like
Do you remember Leffley when they played Pontypool in that sort of promotional
yes,
playoff? And that's what they did. They brought a
yeah,
load of Scarlets
they did.
boys in for that. That was a bit naughty,
Yeah.
but not on this occasion. I don't see
No,
anything wrong
Joe
with it. And
Westwood
Newport
and
have
Shea
done a good
Hope have
job.
played 15 games each for Newport this season, and have played
Yeah.
2 or 3 for Dragons.
And Ladman has been great fun since he's
Yes.
sort of come out of retirement, isn't he? He's been on the pod as well, of course. But
Yeah.
yeah,
No.
Newport, you're right. They are very well coached. They've had a very good season. And
Of
it benefits the Dragons as well because these
course
boys are
it
getting
does.
game time.
Well, it shows you that of the 4 sides in the semi-finals, 2 are Dragons region sides. So yeah,
It's good.
it is very good. So moving down the pyramid to Championship, only the one game, and that was won by Bargoed, who beat Bedwas 59-21. Clearly the Championship is going to look very different next season.
Yes.
And then if we go into Division 1, only one game there. Bryn Mawr topped the table against Talawine, who was second. Bryn Mawr won 16-11. So the promoted teams, all Gwent sides, Bryn Mawr, Talawine and NSD, all go up from Division 1 into the new formed champion. Well, it'll be Championship, Premiership combined, I imagine. And then Riska were relegated post-season for Riska into Division 2. A number of games there. Cwmbran lost 26-36 at home to Abdleri Blaen y Gwent. Gandiffaith beat Pill Harriers 34-20. And Newport High School Old Boys beat Kylie on 31-17. Newport High School Old Boys, Abdleri Blaen y Gwent will be going up. And Oakdale and Killeen are going the opposite direction. In the Division 3, Abercarn beat Fleur-de-Lis 20 points to 7. And Abercarn are adding Jason Tovey to their coaching lineup next season. He won't need to
Abercarnoff?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah,
so he's leaving NSD, is he? He's at NSD now, Jason Tovey.
I might well have mistaken that, but I'm sure I read that on the Abercarn website. I'll check on that. I might be entirely wrong. It won't be the first time. And
okay, yeah.
And Blaenau have beaten Rumney 29-0. Going up are Blaenau and Abercarn. And no, you're right. It is NSD. Ignore me. I've just read my own notes.
I was going to say, okay.
Abercarn have signed someone else, but it's, yeah. Confusion reigns in the Thomas household today, so my mistake. And RTB, Ebervale and Llanilleth are going down the other way. So not great for the side I can see from my mother's house, but good for Blaenau and Abercarn, who are going up. Betus lost 19-26 at home to Whitehead in Division 4. New Panteg beat Gwynafed 30 points to 25. And Newport Saracens won quite convincingly 87-10 against Haverford. And Saracens and New Panteg are going up. Blackwood Stars and Haverford are going down in Division 4. Division 5, Ford side won 63-15 against relegated Westmorn. Pontefraith and Hollybush are the sides going up from there. And then into Division 6, Derry beat Cwmcarn United 66-10, and Hartridge beat Tredegan Ironsides 32-23, but it wasn't quite enough for Hartridge. They needed... at the last minute, they would pick the promotion by Tredegar Ironsides to go up with Derry. So there's quite... that's the end of the season for most clubs now. We've seen New Tredegar have been expelled from Division 4 and will be playing in Division 6 next season for failure to
sad, isn't it?
Grav, who does rock and roll, is a New Tredegar boy, and he's saying he's trying to get himself fit to play from next season, and has asked if I would offer my services. So clearly retired 50-odd-year-old players are exactly what New Tredegar need. But I have said I will play for him if required. So,
nice one. Yeah, always sad to hear that. Gav's there when clubs, can't raise enough players to form a team. It seems to be a growing trend in Welsh rugby, particularly in the community game, isn't it?
Not just Welsh rugby; it's happening all the. I've played rugby in Sussex, where I lived for 17 years, and when I turned up, like teams like Hove, which is over in Brighton, were running 5 teams, 6 teams. They're now running 3. Teams are contracting, and it's happening everywhere. But when teams like Tredegar, Trevel, New Tredegar aren't getting sides out, it's sad because they are mainstays of the community game.
Yeah. I see a lot of people saying that we've got too many rugby clubs in Wales. Do you buy that argument? Is that a fair point to say there's just too many rugby clubs in Wales?
Well, kind of in terms of statistics, yeah, you could say that. But think about it. We both grew up in the valleys, and your community had a side. So, I grew up in Ebervale. Ebervale is 16,000 people. There were 4 clubs in Ebervale. There's Ebervale, the town club. There's RTBs, which covered the bit of
Yeah.
Ebervale I'm from. There's Bullfoot, which covered the other side of the valley, and Cum, which covered the bottom end of the valley. 4 clubs in the town. And it was right. And if you were from Cum, you played for Cum. And if you were from town or from Hilltop, you played for RTB. And if you were from Bullfoot or Rasa, you played for Bullfoot. Just made
Yeah.
sense. Now Cum have disappeared. So, could you, but what would you do? Would you just have 2 clubs in Ebervale? I have the same argument. It's a Gwent thing. I live in a town of 80,000 people. There's a big club, Hastings and Bexhill, who I represented their vet side yesterday, and my club, St. Leonard's. And the argument is, there's only one town, and there should only be one team in the club or in the town. But if this was Wales, there'd be about 7 or 8 clubs.
Yeah.
There'd be one for each bit, and that's what who do you play for? But the problem is, I think loyalty has come into an end, isn't it? Because you just played for the club nearest to you, and now people and Welsh rugby has been its own worst enemy at community level, because and I know this for a fact because I've been told by boys who are playing at that level, people as far down as Division 4 are getting money for playing.
That's not right.
And
Sorry, but that's not right.
And clubs are not able to do that now.
No.
And now, and it's happened the last couple of years, people saying, well, are you going to pay, can you pay us? And like, of course not.
No, it shouldn't be happening. That shit's got to be stamped out.
Then we won't play.
Completely.
But even down in Division 5 and 6, people who are, they're not getting paid, but they're getting stash and they aren't paying subs. I pay to play.
Yeah.
I pay every week to play rugby. I pay 10 quid every week to get my head kicked in.
To hurt your foot.
Yeah.
Basically.
And that's what should be happening down in that community. But people don't want to do that anymore. There's not that loyalty. And there are clubs, and I'm sure people who are listening could tell me clubs who've thrown money about really low down the pyramid.
It's happening, yeah. It still happens, yeah.
It's not sustainable, is it?
No, it's not.
Yeah,
it
because
needs to be stamped out.
I don't know what it's. I've not been in Wales for a long time, but I'm sure people listening can tell me. Are people still drinking in the clubhouses? Because you're seeing less and less of that in English rugby. People will play, younger lads particularly will play, and I'll always stop and have 2 beers because that's the minimum for me. After a game, because it's polite. But there's young lads who'll just bugger off.
Yeah. Well, it's a shame, isn't it?
I'm wondering if that's happening in clubhouses in Wales as well. Is that part of it?
That'll be interesting to know, wouldn't it? Maybe some people can get in touch with us and let us know.
Yeah,
okay,
if you're playing the community game, let us know. What is it like in the community? And we still want community clubs on.
Yeah, we do, yeah.
We'll
do a big push for that next season.
Yeah, if you play or coach a community club, come on, talk to us.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff. Okay, thank you for that then, Gavin. Let's look ahead to Friday night. So, Dragons versus Stormers. The last game of Rodney Parade this season for the Dragons. It's a 7:35 kickoff. The game is live on BBC Two Wales and Premier Sports. Unfortunately for the Dragons, though, it does look like they're going to be sending a fully loaded squad down. So, Stormers head coach John Dobson said this: "We are taking our Springboks. This will be a different mindset from the first tour. I like this, Full Metal Jacket." Great film. It's Full Metal Jacket to try and win every game. Now, Gav, there are no easy games in the URC, as we know, but this is another tough game coming up for the Dragons on Friday, especially if they're coming down here fully loaded, isn't it?
Right, sorry, not to go mad. yeah, Jason Tovey is taking on youth coaching at Abercorn. I knew I hadn't gone mad.
You've come back to that, have you?
Yeah, no. So I was just,
Okay, that's fine.
checking it. Sorry, and
Okay.
yes, going back to Stormers. Yeah, I saw the Stormers. Sorry, I knew I hadn't
It's
gone
okay,
mad.
that's fine.
He won't need his passport to go to Abercorn. He'll be fine.
Keep it away from the dog.
Yeah, I did see the Stormers coach say that in the week. I was like, oh, great.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. And my Stormers mate, Ash, who I played with yesterday, he said, oh, yeah, we're coming fully loaded. I was like, oh, that's handy.
Yeah. The problem for the Dragons is they're playing teams who are chasing our top 8.
Yeah,
so obviously
absolutely.
we played Connacht. Their intention was to come down here and get a bonus point, which unfortunately they did. Stormers are going to have the same mindset. Every team now is going to be targeting wins against us and bonus point wins. And this is where Dragons really need to step up. And we did against Connacht, to be fair. Yeah, there was the same old errors, that we've talked about. That's still happening. The coaches really do need to get a grip on these players making errors all the time. I don't know whether it's coaching or players, but it's got to be stamped out.
A fully loaded Stormers is a step up from Connacht, though, isn't it?
Oh God, yeah.
Even a fully loaded Connacht, it is a significant step up.
Yeah. A return to Rodney Parade for Brock Harris. That'd be nice to see, won't it? It's his testimony. He's having like a dinner.
Yes, I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I can't go to. I would have loved to have gone, but
well,
yeah,
he's well loved, isn't he? He's well loved. It's
yeah. Oh, we are trying to get Brock Harris on this pod, by the way, but it's proving very difficult because let's just say that Brock is not very responsive to messages. Let's just put it that way. But we are trying.
He's considerably more elusive on in real life than he was on the pitch.
Yes, I'd love to get Brock on the pod. We are trying, but that's a work in progress, shall we say. So, yeah, it's going to be a difficult game. Friday Night Lights, like I said, the last home game of the season for the Dragons. Gav, what's our predictions? What are you going for in this game?
We aren't winning.
Really? You do surprise me.
What I would like, keep it down to about 20 points. No, let's keep the margin down to 20 points. And I'd be happy with that.
So you're going to say Stormers by 20, are you?
Yeah.
That's okay.
37-17.
I think the problem when we play South African sides, and we've seen it with the Sharks and we saw it with the Lions, I think we battle hard, but we just get overawed by power. It's always the power that tells in the end with these South African sides. And as you know, we're not physical enough, are we, against these bigger teams? That will change next season. That's why we're bringing in these big guys, as we talked about earlier. But right now, it's our scrum really needs to stand up. And, we talked about it on the last pod. Dragons do have statistically the worst scrum in the league. That's on the URC stats website. We got the worst scrum. So we just got to find some parity up front and try and contain the power. But it's never easy.
And who are we playing? Oh, yes, the Stormers.
South African, yeah. Yes. We've got a massive pack. So I'm going to be slightly more optimistic. I'm going to go a bit less. I'm going to say Stormers by 11. That would be my... I mean, I'd love to see us get... It sounds so negative, but I would like to see us get a losing bonus point. I want to get something out of this game because, we're still fighting to avoid finishing bottom of the league. We got Scarlets and Zebra.
Looking at that, you got Stephen Kitsoff, Franz Malherbe, just on the Stormer side. That's a big ask for our boys, isn't it?
Yeah. Has he actually left Ulster yet then? Is he gone with immediate effect?
I believe so.
Because you said Ulster, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was,
Stephen
yeah.
Kitsoff.
He didn't stay for very long.
No, that was a waste of money, mind ours, wasn't it? That was a flop signing.
Well, it does happen sometimes with the big names, doesn't it? It's that's why I think we've been quite sensible in what we've done.
When we've had big names, it hasn't worked for us, really, has it?
Well, Aki's a great example, and he came with great promise.
Rob Evans.
Yeah.
Like I really thought Rob Evans was going to be a very good player for us. I thought you want to prove a point to the Wales management and get his career back on track. And well, we know what happened. Yeah, some signings, it's fair to say, at the Dragons have not lived up to expectations. So it happens, of course, doesn't it?
Well,
It
for
does
everyone.
Indeed. Okay, so you're saying Stormers by 20. I'm saying Stormers by 11. Yeah, I'll be there Friday night, so I hope it's a decent crowd. And yeah, let's get behind the boys. This is the last home game, and they're going to need our support. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. Okay, I think we'll leave it there for this week. Good luck to the Dragons, of course, on Friday night. Gavin, thank you as always. And thanks to you, our listeners. Please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. If you do listen to us through Apple, it does help if you leave a review. Give us a good rating. We really
5-star.
appreciate that. Yes, anything less than 5 we don't want. If you just give us 5 stars, that'll be much appreciated. So, yeah, we'll be back very soon. So until then, take care and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to the Dragons Lair podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. Please subscribe, rate and review wherever you listen to us, as it really helps spread the word. You can find us on all the usual social media channels or email us on welshregionalrugbypod@gmail.com. And remember, whatever the question is, rugby is always the answer.
Sports Social Podcast Network.